All right, well, here we go. We're back, and I'm Louis Amassoy, the host, and over there in the corner, Mike Griffith, the other host of this show.
Haven't gone anywhere.
You haven't gone anywhere. And Scott Schweitzer is here with us now to talk about Bakersfield Speedway. And you know what? I completely blew it. I did not put up – I apologize. I did not put up the right stuff for the Bud or the upcoming weekend of Bud Nationals. So let's talk a little bit about your next event coming up here.
Yep, 29th Annual Bud Nationals.
Okay, and what is – tell us a little, kind of the outline of this show. How big is this thing? You got people coming from all over the.
We do. As of this morning, we have
123
entries already.
Wow.
Last year there was 209 cars that showed up. It's just a big 2-day show out at the dirt track.
Okay. And what kind of cars are we going to see run? Modified?
We run late models.
Yeah, late models.
Late models and modifieds both run 2 separate shows. They'll
Okay.
run a full show on Friday, a full program on Saturday. Sport mods, hobbies, American stocks, and street stocks.
So and what we've seen from your season this year is that street stocks, hobbies. I mean, all of those have been intensely competitive divisions all season long.
Absolutely.
And then you add in these guys from outside the area, it should be even more exciting.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people put it on their calendar for a dirt track race for a good weekend. We got 10 guys coming from Oregon, 2 guys from Colorado. Arizona brings some cars. So last year we had 31 late models.
Wow.
48 modified. So it's a good show.
So we were going to teasing Blake Bowser about, the March meet entries open tonight. I mean, are you constantly kind of peeking and seeing who's coming in? And
Yeah, we judge it by parking stalls because
Yeah.
they're calling. We're limited on parking. We have overflow parking. So that's how we know. They're calling us reserving spots. So that's how we know who's coming and where they're coming from.
Griff, you've been there. You've been to this event before. Tell me a little bit about your take on it.
Yeah, I think it's changed a lot over the years, but the format's changed the same. It's basically been all the house divisions headlined by late models. Sometimes they've had preliminary stuff on Friday night. Scott's gone to having 2 main events on Friday night as well, and then a lot of preliminary races. And last year, I think the car count was up over the previous year, which is good. I think it's a sign that the economy's bouncing back a little bit, getting more guys willing to travel down for it, and having 48 modifieds. By the time you get to the main event on both nights, generally you've got the top of the top, and those are pretty good races.
It's an interesting point you make about the economy. I mean, is that do you feel like it's hindered the sport a little bit, or are people trying to come back into it now? Or
Well, where we've seen the effects of it is when a guy would blow a motor, crash a car. They weren't back the next weekend. It took them a few weeks to get that car back together. And traveling, obviously, when we do have some extra paying shows, the guys that would travel from out of town. That was kind of our telltale sign of how it's doing. Yeah, it's coming back. We see people spending more money and showing up at the races, so that's good. I think it's going in the right direction. Fuel cost is a huge deal.
Yeah.
Pricing's going down a little bit there.
Yeah, fuel cost has gone down quite a bit.
That's such a big deal, the travel. You got guys coming from Oregon maybe 3-4 years ago. If you got 10, 12 guys coming, maybe it was 2 guys coming. Right. And they put 2 cars in one trailer and try to economize as best they can because the money just wasn't there and the fuel costs are just you're not going to make it back if you win the race.
All right. Well, next week, as we get ready for the Bud Nationals, we're going to have a special, big show, prepping for it, 90-minute show. The last 3 segments will be dedicated to Bakersfield Speedway as we get ready for this major event for their season. As basically the last bit of racing for you guys this year.
It is our last race of the season. We cap it all off with the Nationals.
Then what do you do for the rest of the year? You kind of
repairs.
Yeah.
we get to fix them. We start working on schedules, working with sponsors, that type of deal, working on the facility, getting all raring to go because actually February is when we start cranking back up, and that's not that far away.
No, it's not that far away. We're just looking at the schedule for next year's shows, and it's right there.
Yeah.
Is there anything in the off season that you want to do? You want to make any improvements to it? I mean, I'm amazed at that facility.
You know what? Every other year, I plant wheat out there.
Yeah.
So this is my wheat year. So this year I'll go to farming and we'll plant wheat on the track.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And what is it? What just to kind of does it hold it together or?
The root system breaks up the underneath ground and creates some pockets to hold water for the track.
Interesting.
we want to get some organics in there. So this is the year that we plant wheat.
Look at that.
So
And all in one set, we talked about it, the economic impact of Kern County of racing. We talked about wheat farming. I'm sure there's some other science we can get into this thing later too. But
You
good
just
stuff.
till it up and seed it and hope it rains.
yeah, and we do it low budget. I take
Right.
my 2 boys and throw them in the back of my truck, and they just hand throw it out there. But it works.
This is what I love about this show, because one time I went with Griffith out to Kern County Raceway Park, and he had a 25-minute conversation with James Vernon about sheetrock. So wheat farming will be next, I'm sure. Let's talk about the Bud Nationals, though. 2-day event. What are the ticket prices for this?
On Friday, it's $13 for adults.
So that's a great deal, too. That's a
yeah.
great deal.
And on Saturday, it's $18.
$18?
For adults.
Okay.
So, and there's over 500 laps of racing over the 2 days.
Wow.
So, I mean, we start an hour earlier, and we go nonstop because we get done by 11. So
Okay.
it's a ton of racing.
All right, let's talk sport.
I think, and one more thing, I think what was amazing about last year was the amount of green flag laps. I mean, there was not a lot of caution. Those races went off really well, not a lot of downtime, and just racing from 5 o'clock until they're done.
Nice. Well, we're looking forward to all those results coming up next week and in 2 weeks. We'll look forward to that as we get ready for the Bud National Sport Mods. The champions were crowned, and another big night for you guys here. And here's our champion. And tell me about these races. Griff, are you out there?
Yeah, this was American.
No,
stock.
this is
Or is
Ricky
this sport?
Childress.
Oh, that's Ricky.
He
Yeah,
won the
that's
race.
Ricky.
He's not our champion.
Yeah.
Lee
Right.
Jensen
Lee Jensen's
wrapped
champion.
up the championship
Right.
in the sport mods.
Ricky
but-
won the race, capped off a big night for the Childress family, and Lee Jensen there. He said he's raced forever. I thought he had a lot of championships. He says that's only his second championship that he's won, and they really didn't start the year looking for the championship. But once they got up in points, you know how that goes. All of a sudden, you're points racing.
He didn't win a lot of races, I guess, right? I mean, he
won his share. I mean,
Yeah.
with
that's a tough division.
with IMCA's format,
Yeah.
he's leading points, so
Yeah.
they invert the top 12. So he's got to come from the 6th row every time he straps in, and I mean that's a heavy hitting division, the
Yeah.
sport mod. So it's a tough go. If he gets in the top 5 on any given night, he's happy.
I mean, because you got to go against the Childresses, and you got to go against the Griffith brothers and the Dotson family. That's tough. That's tough stuff sledding there.
There's a lot of heavy hitters
Yeah.
in that class.
How was the race as far as you're concerned, Griff?
It was a good race. Thought it was a little late, but it was a good race, and I thought it was a perfect. Went a little late.
A little late. You want to talk about a little late? I was
late
stuck.
past
I was
my
stuck in
deadline.
Santa Maria with Jeff Evans for a
But I
little
thought
late.
it was the perfect end because earlier in the evening, Brian Childress had wrapped up the championship, and now his brother Ricky won the Sport Mod race to cap the season. So it was a good deal.
Tom Mock sending us more photos from the hobby stock classes too, which is another fun one to watch as well. And this is a guy we've had in here before. This is the winner of the night was Jimmy Irwin. It wasn't the track champion, but he was the winner of the race and got the prize money there. But your track champion was Steven Johnson, and in the overall finish, he finished 6th there. Irwin was the winner. Kevin Collier finishing 2nd. Marcus Wankham finishing 3rd. Tim Delsid finishing 4th. Brent Holstead is in 5th. So again, another tough race there, and another very competitive group.
It was. Del Cid got out to the lead, and you know, that guy's had some tough luck this year, and he held it for probably, 20 laps, and then Jimmy was right on him, stalking him, and finally got by him with like 5 to go. And Jimmy's tough. Every time he shows up, had some motor issues midway through the year, but he's a great driver. And then come away with the win. And Kevin Collier, another Porterville driver that had a great season, finished 2nd.
Right.
And I think Steven said that was his 5th championship, not all in hobby stocks. He wants American stock
Right.
too. And he's buying a house, and I think he said he's going to be a little part-time racer next year, probably not chasing points.
Yeah, Steven's been at it for a few years now, and he did say that he's ready to buy a house. But I don't know. You know, with the Johnsons, once they start racing, they get bit by the bug. It wouldn't be
4 races in if he's leading the points.
Then he'll stay
Nice.
at it.
Moving on to American stocks, and some more competitive racing too. Another fun class to watch and to see. And we'll get through these here. More of these great Tom Mock photos. And this is the winner of the race. and that is Chris Settlemeyer, who won the race and one more shot. And this was the 3-wide event because Brian Childress was the winner of the track championship.
Right. He won the track championship, and they planned this as a tribute to their grandmother who passed away just basically a week and a half before.
Yeah, a couple of weeks before that, they lost their grandmother, which was a huge staple out there at the Bakersfield Speedway. So pretty emotional for the Childress family.
Yeah, this is a third generation of racers, about to have probably a fourth generation, and it started with Don Childress, her grandfather, racing, and so it's a pretty big deal out there.
So I mean, everyone who was involved with this sport, and this is something you see. You kind of inherited this when you took over the track. I mean, this is something these people have been there even before you, probably.
They
right?
have, yeah. I hear stories every Saturday night from the Childress family about it that I never knew about.
Really?
So they're really indebted out there, and it was a tough loss. And there's so many, grandchildren, nieces, whatever, that it's out there, and it affected a lot of them. So this was their chance to, Brian wrapped up his first American Stock Championship and was able to do that tribute to his grandmother. And it was a pretty cool deal for him.
All right, moving on to this is the senior mini dwarfs, and the winner was Anthony Balcazar. That's a familiar name. I don't know where. What is it? This kid races all the time. I mean, he's. They talk about up and coming stars. I mean, I think you're over there, Stephen Blakesley, going and you definitely too. I mean, he's one of those guys that.
Yeah, he's a good kid and he's got a lot of talent, and he bought him a mod light. Yeah. So we're gonna see a lot more of this kid.
I mean, the fact that he can navigate both pavement and dirt, I mean, shows this is a serious driver right here.
Yeah, he's the real deal.
So, and this is actually junior mini dwarfs, and Kylie Forster was the winner, but Jake Carey was your 2014 champion there in the junior mini dwarfs. And it's good to see all the little guys, kids doing well on this event.
They are. I mean, they're some serious racers, and then what's cool about it is like Anthony, we take him from the mini dwarfs, and then we move them up into our bigger classes, right. And we move them along just like Ethan Dotson started in the mini dwarfs. So it's a really cool feeder program to get them started in racing, and that's what we need.
So dark this weekend in preparation for the Bud Nationals. Yep. We come back next week with the Bud Nationals. Friday and Saturday. Unbelievable weekend of racing here. Special 90-minute edition. We're going to try to get as many of the track champions on as we can for next week's show as we head into the Bud Nationals and the end of your season. Hard to believe. It's just like that.
Yeah, it goes quick.
It does go quick. It just seems like the other day we just started this show, and you were already into your season for a couple months when we got this thing started. But looking forward to how things go at the Bud Nationals. All right, Scott, thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next week. Mm-hmm. All right, coming up next, Stephen Blakes. He's got a guest. He may or may have not brought in something cool, like right over here. Show it. There it is. We'll talk about that here in a moment here on the Baco Motorsports Power Hour, brought to you by Budweiser, Sign Factory, and Bakersfield, California.